Very warm welcome to everybody today. I am delighted to have you all joining us for our webinar on the PAT Monitoring and Control Roadmap. So first of all, I will run through the session. I will do an introduction to BioPhorum and the journey taken to date by the PAT workstream. Yi Zhang, who is a senior scientist from AstraZeneca, will talk through process analytical technology implementation, the current state versus future state, building that very important business case, considerations for PAT method development, followed by the deployment and engagement of PAT. Then Karen Mutri, who is the Director of Automation from Regeneron, will talk through considerations for the qualification and validation of PAT, the lifecycle management, and we will finish up with the regulatory best practices and conclusions. At the end, we will have an opportunity for a Q&A panel in which we will be joined by some of our other authors. There'll be Yi Zhang and Karen Mutri, along with Keith Davis, a principal scientist from Merck Group, Mark Richards, principal investigator at Insight, and Lynette Gonzalez, a downstream scientist at AstraZeneca. If you have any questions throughout the presentation, please add them to the Q&A section above, and we will address them in the Q&A session at the end. So thank you. So what is BioPhorum? We are a collaboration that brings technical experts and leaders together to bring about change within the biopharmaceutical industry. We successfully do this through forming communities that discuss specific topics, build partnerships by replacing isolation with collaboration. These groups may have the same challenges, but will have a different perspective on how to solve the challenge. But ultimately, through these collaborations, we aim to accelerate the way industry delivers near-term results, making best practice development and implementation faster, cheaper, and smarter. BioPhorum has 12 forums that span the biopharmaceutical development, and one of which is the development group. We have 38 member companies and 14 collaborative work streams, all of which that focus on areas from preclinical up to BLA. There are around 1,100 active participants, and the PAT Monitoring and Control Workstream, which started in 2018, will today share their published PAT Monitoring and Control Roadmap. So the publications and this presentation is shared by the whole of the PAT workstream, and it's not attributed to the individual positions of the participating companies. Contributions from these companies are of various sizes with diverse product portfolios and a huge range of different business models. So the presentation today will be a representative summary of overall industry practices. So the PAT workstream has been set up to identify how companies are currently using PAT and the benefits, along with risk avoidance strategies associated with them. The aim of the team is to share and develop a common understanding of the value PAT brings and to increase the confidence of companies to be able to make strategic decisions to move towards and increase the use of PAT technologies within their processes. Over the last 6 years, the team have generated benchmarking surveys and assessments of the current landscape to enable the final roadmap deliverable, which we will be presenting today. The team have also published a paper in 2022 on the systematic assessment of PAT applications of bioprocessing. And now that the roadmap has been published, the future direction of the team will be to focus on one of the areas highlighted in the roadmap, the qualification, validation, and transfer of PAT methods and models. The team are benchmarking the current landscape through organizational aspects, application of methods and models, software and hardware utilization, and how QA and regulatory validation are involved in the process. This survey will provide an opportunity to better understand the current best practices, challenges, and gaps the industry are facing within this phase of implementation. But today, we are here to celebrate the achievement of our workstream authors and their dedication over the last 18 months from initiation to publication. We published on the 1st of October, and I am pleased to say that we have had the paper downloaded 400 times, which is amazing. We hope that each of you have the opportunity to download a copy. There is a QR code on this slide that you can click on to go straight to the page where the download is available. So now I'm going to hand over to our first speaker, Yi, from AstraZeneca.
Thank you, Donna, for the introduction. Just want to confirm that can you hear me well?
I can hear you loud and clear, yes.
Sounds good. So I'm going to kick off by providing an overview of the current and future states for PAT implementation. Next slide, please. So PAT tools are intended to be used to measure critical quality and performance attributes in real time. It also allows access to relevant manufacturing feedback. This will enable better process understanding, control, consistency, improved product quality, and potentially improved productivity. Some examples of PAT include inline probe, such as pH probe, automation and robotics, Raman spectroscopy, and etc. However, there are challenges related to the development and implementation of PAT. This can be due to various reasons, such as the complexity of the technology, the large scope of work to complete, the required effort across different functions, and the lack of organizational support. In addition, there is ambiguity around regulatory requirements on how to use PAT processes in commercial space. In order to help organizations to overcome some of these challenges, the BioPhorum PAT monitoring and control workstream has developed a roadmap to help guide the PAT implementation. The following aspects listed here are discussed in the manuscript and will also be presented here. We'll start with building a business case and then going through different phases and end with recommendations for regulatory filing strategy. Next slide, please. And next slide. So the first step in the roadmap is building a business case to lay out the rationale and benefits of PAT. And it starts with a problem statement. What are the pain points in your current practice in development and manufacturing? How can they benefit from PAT? With that identified, you can move on to build a team. The key stakeholders should be assembled early on to avoid obstacles down the road. And PAT implementation will involve multiple functions. The primary decision makers are from process development and manufacturing, with supporting functions from automation, engineering, IT, quality, and regulatory. Depending on the stage of your program, the roles of specific functions can change. The key questions the team will need to answer are listed out here. The first one is, what are the desired attributes do you intend to monitor or control? Do we need to build models? The second one is related to business drivers. This can be from an economic analysis comparing the cost versus benefit, and from a timeline perspective to reduce the time to market. The next one is about instruments. What are the technologies out there that can help us achieve the goal? The comparison and evaluation should include the fit for purpose, the maturity of the technology, the cost of implementation, and whether it's scalable, compatible to the current infrastructure. The next one is what kind of external support we will need from the vendor for installation, for training, for model generation. And lastly, what is the desired timeline for deployment? Be aware that there are a lot of activities needs to happen before deployment, such as development, model generation, tech transfer, risk assessment, IT assessment. With all these questions answered, you can use the BioPhorum roadmap to create a strategy outline to help guide the PAT implementation. And the business case is a living and evolving document. It will need to be refined at the later stages as well. Next slide, please. When you are at the method development stage, it can be roughly categorized into the 4 phases here, and each one with a different focus. The first one is technology comparison. In here, you will want to choose the one that best defines the outcomes and desired attributes in the business case. And it's to find a PAT technology that can suit your organization's need, not just finding a home for a PAT. Here you can refer to the BioPhorum 2022 benchmarking survey to gain some idea as well. In the early phase, a sufficient number of bench scale runs can provide data to either support or deny the selection of a PAT and its continued development. Comparability and robustness studies will also be performed. The mid-phase development activities add structure to the PAT program by classifying parameters, integrating the PAT into information system network, developing a data analysis method or model, and then also asking feedback from stakeholders to refine the business case. The last phase of development produce content for GMP deployment. This will include tech transfer documents, specifications, also training program requirements and method validation. Next slide, please. When you are at the deployment stage, activities need to happen to implement a PAT program is quite extensive. We're not here to give you specific instructions to how to achieve there, but more to highlight some of the important activities happening at this time. The first one is to create a validation package for the receiving facility of the PAT program and to refine business case based on the cost benefit analysis appropriate at this time. Environment, health, safety assessment cannot be overlooked, and this includes identifying job hazards, ensuring process fit, and establishing work streams if there are any hazardous materials. In terms of data integrity, the digital platform and data management system of the PAT program must be 21 CFR Part 11 compliant, with data backup and algorithms published to the regulators. The last one listed here is risk assessment. The organization should consider system redundancy and backup plans as output in the risk assessment. The operational readiness exercise will help to identify any remaining gaps before deployment. And knowledge management during development and the continued support from SMEs will be the key to help troubleshooting and the program expansion during deployment stage. Next slide, please.
Thank you, Yi, for that insightful overview of the foundational aspects of process analytical technology development and deployment. Just a quick check, everyone can hear me?
Loud and clear.
Thanks, Donna. I'm going to take us now through the next steps in our roadmap, qualification and validation of PAT methods. These processes ensure that our PAT methods are not only high quality and reliable, but also adhere to regulatory standards. And this phase is essential for guaranteeing the robustness and accuracy of our analytical methods, thereby underpinning our commitment to excellence in the pharmaceutical manufacturing realm. In consideration of clinical and commercial deployments, we start with regulatory alignment for in-process control, or IPC testing, to ensure that all of our testing procedures comply with relevant regulatory standards. This alignment mitigates risks and eases the pathway for obtaining our necessary approvals. We focus on controlling process parameters, which include targets, set points, and operating ranges. Understanding and defining these parameters ensure that the process operates within established boundaries, guaranteeing consistency and reproducibility. The qualification involves a series of tests designed to demonstrate through objective evidence that the PAT equipment, system, and methods are installed and configured correctly, function as expected, and are suitable for intended purpose. The qualification phase is typically completed once the PAT method has demonstrated that it meets predefined criteria for precision, accuracy, and robustness during initial testing during the deployment phase, specifically under IQ/OQ, Installation Qualification, Operational Qualification. Validation is subsequent risk-based process that provides through documented evidence that the PAT system and method consistently produce reliable results under specified conditions. Performance data from process design through pre-commercial phase may be leveraged and can include phase-appropriate validation in the clinical space. This phase focuses on the continued process verification, PPQ, or process performance qualification, involve executing manufacturing processes at scale to ensure that they reproducibly yield results that meet our predefined specifications and quality attributes. We consider this phase completed once all of the validation parameters, such as specificity, linearity, accuracy, and precision, meet the required standards, and the comprehensive documentation is finalized. Next slide, please. For our validation protocols of our PAT systems and methods, we need to focus on writing the validation, executing the validation, and completing that comprehensive qualification summary I was referring in the previous slide. The first step of writing the validation protocol is to scope the protocol using information from the business case that Yi was discussing, aligning with the business needs and regulatory requirements. Clearly define your instrument types, methods, and materials involved, ensuring every aspect is detailed and well understood. Specify the number of batches, runs, samples, or sampling frequency based on risk assessment to ensure consistency and completeness in data collection. Provide clear instructions on the data collection and analysis to ensure uniformity and reliability in the data gathered. Include a rationale and justification for your acceptance criteria, outlining why each is critical for the success and compliance of the method. To execute the validation, it's essential to ensure that both PAT and reference analyzer processes are followed under GMP regulations to maintain the highest quality and compliance standards. Confirm that the instruments are qualified and the PAT infrastructure is in place before starting the validation process, and follow the protocol instructions carefully to collect and analyze data systematically. To complete the qualification summary report, summarize all activities, data, and outcomes of the protocol comprehensively. This summary should provide a clear picture of the entire validation process. Compare the collected data to the acceptance criteria to ensure that the method meets all of the required standards, and document and address all potential risk factors to ensure that they are managed appropriately. This documentation forms a crucial part of ensuring ongoing compliance and readiness for any audit or reviews. Next slide, please. In this section, we'll delve into the lifecycle management within PAT monitoring and control. Lifecycle management is pivotal for maintaining the effectiveness, regulatory compliance, and innovation of our PAT systems. We will explore how ongoing monitoring, regular updates, and improved process contribute to sustained success and quality in the pharmaceutical manufacturing industry. This is proactive management to ensure we remain at the forefront of technology advancements and ever-changing regulatory standards. The lifecycle management process is done to ensure the integrity and availability of the PAT methods over that lifetime. It addresses any potential risk factors that could impact product quality and the overall control strategy. By maintaining this process, we guarantee that our PAT systems consistently meet quality and compliance standards. Our implementation strategy began with risk assessments to identify and address key risk factors for maintaining control and ensuring that systems operate optimally. We set clear outlier detection limits and acceptance criteria to monitor method performance effectively. We have a method maintenance strategy, often referred to as continuous process verification, which involves continuous tracking and auditing of method performance. We rely on sophisticated data analysis methods to scrutinize the data covered throughout the lifecycle to identify trends, anomalies, and areas for improvement, thereby maintaining process consistency and ensuring a state of control. Moreover, integrating predictive models and real-time data analytics can significantly enhance our ability to foresee process deviations and preemptively correct actions. This predictive approach not only assures adherence to quality standards, but optimizes process efficiency and productivity and brings us to a digital plant maturity model of a higher level. The life cycle phases are method development, identifying new methods or improvements to those methods, applying these methods for testing and analysis, and assessing their performance and suitability for long-term use. Then, sustainment, periodically reevaluating methods to ensure continued performance, and statistical performance monitoring to detect any deviations promptly in process control and monitoring, ensure product quality and process reliability. This continuous monitoring allows real-time adjustments that maintain process parameters within the desired ranges, thus preventing deviations that could compromise product integrity. Then, through method deployment, we establish clear user requirements, documentation providing a clear trail for compliance and accountability, and finally release the method for routine use within production. Finally, method qualification. We verify that the method operates as expected in its intended environment, validate the method to ensure it meets all defined specifications and regulatory requirements, and then let the cycle repeat for that continuous improvement. In summary, lifecycle management is not a one-time event, but a continuous process that ensures that our PAT methods remain effective, reliable, and compliant throughout their operational life. It supports continuous improvement, enabling us to adapt to new challenges and technological advancements while maintaining the highest standards of product, quality, and regulatory compliance. Next slide, please. The process of PAT method transfer is completed to ensure the seamless and successful integration of our methods from one site to another. This involves transferring the validated methods or technology, verifying that they work as intended in the new location, and maintaining the consistency and quality of the product. A controlled transfer process is critical for maintaining regulatory compliance, ensuring product quality, and minimizing risk associated with the method variability during the transfer. In preparation for transfer, start by completing a thorough gap assessment to document any differences between the original and new site and identify potential impact on key risk factors. Depending on the transfer type and results of the gap assessment, decide the level of validation needed. Co-validation can be performed when minimal differences exist, while a full validation is necessary if significant changes or risks are identified. Testing the robustness at a new site ensures that PAT systems operate effectively under the new conditions, maintaining accuracy and reliability. Equivalency testing, such as two one-sided tests or TOAST approach, can statistically verify that the method's performance is consistent between the old and new sites. Follow established guidance for creating and executing validation protocols during method transfer. Ensure that all steps are conducted systematically, maintaining compliance and quality standards. A clinical to commercial transfer involves a method move from a clinical setting to a commercial production environment. Validation is completed to ensure that the method performs consistently on a larger scale. In the case of site-to-site transfer, the method is moved from one production site to another. Validation is necessary to confirm that the method maintains its performance in the new location, considering the method's accuracy, precision, and robustness in the new site's environment and conditions. Lab-to-lab transfer occurs between laboratories, either within the same organization or across different ones. Validation ensures consistent results regardless of the lab. As with other transfers, the accuracy, precision, and robustness of the method must be verified to ensure quality control. Instrument-to-instrument transfer involves moving the method between different instruments. Validation in this case is conditional and depends on factors such as the similarity between the instruments and the complexity of the method. It's crucial to assess whether the new instruments can perform the method with the same accuracy and precision. If there is a significant difference, a full validation may be necessary. Otherwise, a more limited validation would suffice. Operator-to-operator transfer focuses on ensuring that different operators can perform the same method without introducing variability affecting the method's performance. This type of transfer is important in maintaining consistency and reliability in analytical methods across different personnel. Additional considerations include ensuring the method's precision and, if needed, accuracy to account for potential differences in technique or experience between those operators. This variability can be controlled through standard operating procedures, training, and continuous monitoring and feedback. Day-to-day transfers focus on maintaining the consistency and reliability of analytical methods across different days, ensuring that the performance remains stable over time, despite any inherent day-to-day variations that might occur in the analytical environment. Similar considerations apply, focusing on maintaining the accuracy and precision of the method. It aims to ensure that temporal factors, such as changing in environmental conditions or slight variations in daily setup, do not affect the reliability of the method. Additional considerations include method accuracy, the precision to produce repeatable and consistent results by controlling environmental conditions and instrumentation, consistently utilizing standard operating procedures, and continuous monitoring. By understanding and properly validating these different types of transfers, we ensure that our PAT methods remain robust, accurate, and precise, regardless of the operating changes they undergo. This rigorous approach supports our commitment to high quality and compliance. Next slide, please. In this section, we're going to explore the domain of regulatory best practice within PAT monitoring and control, and then our conclusions on how implementing these practices can drive innovation and operational excellence. The first pivotal regulatory practice is to engage with your internal CMC teams and regulators early in the process, ensuring that everyone is aligned with the expectations and any potential regulatory concerns can be addressed proactively. Implementation should be methodologically planned and integrated at each phase of the drug development and manufacture to ensure seamless compliance and efficacy. Next, we must scope PAT tools accurately by defining equipment categories and requirements from commissioning. We need to determine the associated quality compliance level in accordance with the specific manufacturing phase to ensure that compliance measures are appropriately scaled and relevant to the production stage. Ensuring data integrity is paramount, involving strong data governance policies, data quality, and secure data storage. Additionally, we need to develop comprehensive redundancy plans to ensure continuous operation during any system failures or unexpected events. Finally, maintaining documentation and/or change control requirements is to ensure traceability and accountability. In conclusion, implementing PAT should always be tied and related to a business case, ensuring that efforts in deploying PAT are justified economically and strategically. Using this roadmap as a framework and working with local guidance is beneficial in maintaining consistency and adherence to our regulatory standards. Identify and mitigate risks throughout the process is going to be key. Effective process control and monitoring are indispensable for maintaining quality and efficacy. By leveraging small-scale models and advanced data analysis techniques, we can ensure consistent performance and continuous improvement in our manufacturing operations. Lastly, keep in mind that maintenance will be required over the method lifecycle. Regular maintenance ensures that implemented methods continue to function effectively and remain compliant with the evolving regulatory standards. By adhering to these best practices, we can ensure that our PAT methodologies are robust, compliant, and effective throughout the drug development and manufacturing process. This approach not only safeguards product quality and patient safety, but also drives operational excellence and innovation. Thank you.
Thank you very much to Karen and Yi for their presentation today on the PAT Monitoring and Control Roadmap. I would like to thank everybody from the BioPhorum Development Group and the PAT Monitoring and Control Workstream for their contributions in writing the PAT Roadmap publication.